Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first internet broadcast of my new television show, Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Dennis Aloia, and this show is going to focus on real people that have had real everyday experiences. We're not going to have any celebrities on the show. We're going to have some great entertainers who you probably never had a chance to watch perform, and that's going to be in the last segment of our show. But we're going to mix it up with some really good conversation, some very funny stories along the way, and the entertainer segment is just going to be great. I've got a wide variety of friends in the entertainment business. We're going to have everybody from magicians to comedians and people that sing songs, write their own material, etc. So it's going to be a very different kind of show. A couple of things before we get started. If you're looking at the bottom of your screen, you can actually chat. We do live chat, and you can type in a message. Hopefully it'll be a kind message that you're enjoying the show, but any kind of message would be appreciated because we'd like to know who's out there watching this evening. I do want to thank some people and give shout-outs to some very important people in my life that in some cases actually made this show happen this evening. First of all, I want to give a shout-out to all my children and grandchildren out there, and especially Alyssa Johnson up in Des Moines, Iowa, who will deliver her first child sometime this evening. The Cosgrove family up in the Chicago area. Without your dad's help, I would not be sitting here and being an entertainer. My dear veteran friends that I've known for many years, I want to give a shout-out to them. In particular, Hal Burke, Rich Powell, Otto Cahoon, Ken Fisher, and Len Schwartz. Together, those fellows represent the Army, Navy, and Coast Guard. Hopefully next week I'll get a Marine and an Air Force guy on to round it out. But they're all great patriotic fellows, and patriotism and supporting the military is going to be a big part of my show going forward. My son Mike Aloia, who is the co-founder of a radio program on the internet called American Hearts Radio. We have partnered with American Hearts Radio to offer advertising to you folks out there. If you have a product or a service, you can advertise it at rates that are probably about 80% less expensive than you would get from a local newspaper, and I'll get into that with you here in just a few moments. Mr. Earl Hayes, who is my son's partner with American Hearts Radio, up in Hamilton, Ohio. Earl, I listened to your show last night. It was a great show. Although we've never met personally, Earl, I want to tell you I've seen your picture on the internet, and you have a perfect picture, or a perfect face, rather, for radio. So I look forward to meeting you in the near future. Thanks for all you do for the veteran community up there, Earl, through American Hearts Radio. A couple of things. If you'll tune into American Hearts Radio and look at their broadcast schedule, about every show you'll hear them mention a fellow named Bo Bergdahl, and they're in a big effort there trying to bring him home. He is the only POW that is still held captive from the Afghanistan-Iraq war. His family lives in Idaho. I hope they're watching tonight, because if you are, folks, we've got Bo on our minds, and we're going to do everything we can to make awareness for his plight and try to get him home in the very near future. In fact, American Hearts Radio is sponsoring a sign-up petition that will be delivered to the State Department on Bo's behalf. So I'd like you to take a look at that. And it's a great radio station. It really is. They've got some wonderful disc jockeys and lots of fun. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about the TV show and how this is going to work. I'm going to have, after this segment, which I call the introduction segment, I'll have 3 other segments going forward. The first segment I will call Everyday Heroes. I want to focus on people that are current or former military members, because in my mind they're heroes for having served. And I also want to focus on first responders like police officers, fire department members, even teachers. They're the everyday heroes. They are the people that our children should be looking up to as a role model, not some football or basketball player that happens to be a part-time criminal. So I'm going to try to promote that as much as I possibly can. The other thing that I'm going to do is the segment after Everyday Heroes is going to be called a segment where I will introduce somebody with an interesting story who happens to be a senior citizen. I like to say a seasoned citizen, but I know a lot of those folks, and they've got very interesting stories to tell. I think they'll be enjoyable, and we can always learn from somebody's experience. And then some weeks I may not do a senior segment. I may do a segment where I introduce somebody that has a business or service that they provide that's kind of unique and they'd like to feature on this show. If you're one of those folks out there, please let us know. And if you're in the Atlanta area on a Tuesday night, we'd love to have you and maybe work you in as one of our guests. You can contact me or anybody related to this show by going to our website at harmonybooking@hotmail.com. And we'll be sure to get back with you. And my son Mike is in charge of that part of this, and hopefully we'll have some good guests going forward. The last segment of the show is something that I like to call Independent Artists, where we're going to feature folks in the entertainment business that are not very well known, but they are, in many, many cases, much, much better in terms of their entertainment that they bring to the table than some acts I've seen in Las Vegas. And we've got a fella tonight that I know is in that category, and he's going to really, really entertain you and make you laugh. So stick around for the last part of the show. I want to get back for just a moment to this wonderful medium that we call the Internet. You know, thank you, Al Gore, for inventing it. I won't go there any more than I just did, but you know, it's a wonderful medium. It's a global medium. So if you think about it, if you have a message you want to get out about your product or your business or your service, the potential here is global. You know, our ad rates, I think I mentioned earlier, are less expensive than a regular newspaper in your community. As an example, I am a performer as well as a TV host. I've been doing magic and comedy for many, many years, over 30. And recently I had a show in a suburb of Atlanta with 5 other folks that are also performers. We put a great variety show together, and I took out an ad in our local newspaper. For less than a quarter of a page, my ad cost me $250, and it ran one time on a Sunday. In comparison, you can advertise on this show on television for a 15-second ad for $20. I mean, that's just as least expensive as you can possibly imagine. And because of the fact that we've also teamed up with American Hearts Radio, you can do an add-on to your ad for another $10. We'll carry it on the radio. So for a total of $30, you can have one heck of a good ad going on both Internet television and Internet radio. And I think you'll see the payoff will be worth much more than your $30. But if you're interested in that, you could go to www.harmonybooking.com, the website you're on right now. At the home page, look up to your top right and click on the PayPal button. And that will show you all the different ads that are available, what their cost breakdown is. And if you have an ad that you have in mind but have not yet created, we can do that for you as well. We have video capability to put together a video ad for you or your business, and that also is available through harmonybooking.com. One other thing about Harmony Booking, that is the kind of the umbrella organization of this television show. We have many, many talented people that we promote around the country for various functions. You know, it could be just a private party, it could be a festival, anything that you might need. We've got the type of talent that is professional, highly trained, been doing it for many, many years through harmonybooking.com. You can get a quality show, and we have very reasonable rates. So please check it out. There's a page on the website that shows you all the different talent, whether it's comedy, variety, or whatever you might need. So I think I've covered that part of this show, and I'm looking at the screen to my bottom left here, and I'm getting a couple of folks that are texting me. Somebody said, "Perfect, I love the show." That was completely unsolicited, and I want to thank my son for doing that. No, that was Earl Hayes up there with the radio station. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay, now, boy, time flies. I'll tell you what, we're almost going to be going to commercial here, but before we do, I wanted to bring something else to the show. You know, we've all watched Jay Leno, and he's got his, what is it, on Monday nights? He reads funny headlines, I think it is, out of the newspaper, actual stories that are pretty funny. And then, of course, Letterman's got his top 10 list. Well, I'm going to introduce a new segment to my show that's called I Love This Story. And I have researched this story. It is without a doubt absolutely true. And that's what I'm going to bring to the table here. And this story, the reason I'm going to read it to you folks is that it touched me in a very special way. And I hope it will touch you in the same special way as it did me. And right after I read this story, we're going to break for a commercial for about 3 minutes, and we'll be back with our first guest. But here's the story. After stopping for drinks at an illegal bar, a Zimbabwean bus driver found that the 20 mental patients he was supposed to be transporting from the city of Harare to Bulawayo had escaped. Not wanting to admit his incompetence, the driver went to a nearby bus stop and offered everyone waiting there a free ride. He then delivered the passengers to the mental hospital, telling the staff that the patients were very excitable and prone to bizarre fantasies. This deception was not discovered for 3 days. Now, I think my hat's off to the fellow that's a bus driver for being a quick-thinking individual and pulling up to a bus station and or a bus stop and offering these people a free ride. And they were, of course, placed in the mental hospital instead of the real mental patients. So anyway, that was a true story. It touched me in a certain way, and I'll leave you with that little thought. And here's our first commercial break. And keep those texts coming. Thank you. Hi, welcome back, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the first segment. As I mentioned to you earlier, my second segment actually is going to be called Everyday Heroes, and I've got an everyday hero sitting right next to me. His name is Christian Stevens. Mr. Stevens served in the Army for 9 years. He was in the Special Forces, and Christian happens to live in my subdivision. I feel very well protected if we ever have an invasion in our subdivision. I live in a golf community, and Christian is kind enough to sponsor a veterans golf tournament every year, and that'll be coming up here very soon. And to kick it off, just so he knows that something special is happening, he rents a helicopter and jumps out of it. And that is a true story. Am I right, Christian?
It is.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Well, speak up so the folks can hear you.
Okay.
But
well, let me correct you first. I wasn't in the Special Forces or Green Beret type.
Oh.
And Rangers don't have Green Berets, but
you were in the Rangers.
But the Rangers fall under SOCOM, so it's considered.
Okay, but Rangers lead, isn't that their motto?
Rangers lead the way.
Rangers lead the way. Okay, yeah. Well, how long were you in the Rangers?
Well, I was in the Army all 9 years. I guess I was Ranger qualified for about 4 of those.
Okay. Yeah. What was your rank?
I got out as a first lieutenant.
First lieutenant.
Was later promoted to captain.
Super.
Yeah.
So you were a leader of men.
Real men.
Real men. Where did the Army take you as far as travel to exotic places?
The only deployment that I incurred was to Kosovo in 1999.
Kosovo. Mm-hmm. Wasn't that the former Yugoslavia?
It was, and that broke up, and the Serbian MUP was trying to kill all the Albanian Muslims, and the Serbians were Orthodox Christians, and they were having basically another religious war.
Wow. Who are we supporting in that? I was kind of confused about that whole incident.
I don't know that we were supporting any one side or the other. I think we just needed to stop the war because that's where the First and the Second World War.
That's right. That's right.
Well, so.
Yeah, you must be a student of history. He's right. That's the part of the world where the First and the Second World War began. Right. Hopefully that'll never happen again in Europe because it really tore up that continent during those 2 wars. I happen to, well, I'm not going to tell you about me. I'm more interested in you. I'll mention where I served in due time. But I think that having been to Kosovo and having been in Special Forces, that you've kind of got an insight as to what's happened with the, what would you say, not just the Special Forces, but the SEALs and Special Operation Troops, since you've gotten out of the Army. I know that they've allotted more money and more troops to special operations in general. Do you think that's a good thing? Or
I do, and because you don't get on a line and fight like we used to.
Right.
Our enemies aren't typically wearing uniforms, so it's a lot of clandestine operations and snatch and grabs and small unit operations. You won't. You very, very rarely. There are occasions in Iraq and maybe even some places in Afghanistan where battalion-sized elements have done operations, but most of the operations are in company or platoon or even squad size.
Did you guys, you fellas, work closely with the Air Force and other services when you were on your special operations?
We did. We always jumped out of Air Force aircraft, so
yeah.
And then we had forward air controllers who target various type of air assets that they had more familiarity with. Yeah.
Well, I just can't see the need to jump out of a perfectly well functioning airplane, but
they're not perfectly good, Dennis. I can assure you.
Must be. How many jumps did you have?
In the Army, I had about 45. I've got about 600 now.
600.
Yeah.
How many of those are off the top of buildings?
I haven't done any base jumping yet. No, I've done some ground crew work, but
haven't you done some off the top of buildings?
Right.
That one? You actually jumped off that building?
I was ground crew for that one right there.
No kidding. That's one of the tallest buildings in Atlanta. And you did it at night on a Sunday when nobody was around, right? So you couldn't be arrested.
It's very, very clandestine. You
this guy,
quickly.
This guy's the original Batman, folks. I always wondered what you looked like without the cape.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of base platforms in Atlanta that people don't know about.
Yeah. Well, we'll just keep it a secret.
Okay.
I had a question about your golf outing with regard to the vets.
Mm-hmm.
And does that tie into the American Legion or VFW post that you're also a commander of? Is it VFW?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm also a member of the American Legion, but I'm the commander of my VFW post.
I see.
I got elected to be the commander, and we do this Operation Santa has been going on since 2003. We raise money from anywhere we can get it, and most of the money is spent buying Christmas gifts for Georgia-based deployed troops' kids while
that's great.
Parents are in the desert. So,
that's great. What's that called again?
Operation Santa.
Operation Santa.
And most of the money we get for Operation Santa comes out of the Freedom Fighters Open, which we do in Brisbane.
I see. So if somebody out there has a big fat wallet and wants to get rid of a few bucks, how could they get in touch with you to donate to Operation Santa that would get some things to these kids that are children of veterans serving?
FreedomFightersOpen.org is the website for the golf tournament, and there's more than enough information there for that.
FreedomFighters.org.
FreedomFightersOpen.org.
Open.org. Okay. Well, great. When is the next
the
golf outing?
The 9th of November. It's
It's
always around Veterans Day, but not on Veterans Day because veterans are typically pooled this way and that for parades and such on Veterans Day. Right.
Well, that's great. I started to tell you a little bit about where I served and when, but this goes way back. I was in the Cuban Missile Crisis as a young sailor. I was 18 years old, and I can remember very distinctly President Kennedy's speech that night because I was on board my ship. Mm-hmm. And right after his speech, everybody was given real weapons and real bullets, and we started loading Marines, and everything that was in that port was out by the next day.
Wow.
Headed to Cuba. We thought we were going to invade at that time. And history is an interesting thing. I'm a student of history, especially military history. And folks, if you read your history books or have a chance to look at the Cuban Missile Crisis and how it turned out, the reason that we, I think, came out on the good end of that is we had the strongest military in the world at that time. And the Russians knew it. We outspent them. We had twice as many ships. And, I'm glad that President Kennedy took the stand that he did. It was the right thing to do. But he was going up against a strong adversary. And I've always believed in that old adage, peace through strength.
Walk softly, carry a big stick.
You got it. And I hope that they don't cut the military down, more than what they're talking about doing. I don't want to get into any political controversy here, but I just believe in a strong military. Because without it, we won't have a country. It's that simple. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. If somebody's out there who can take advantage of us on a global scale, they'll do it. So we better keep our military strong and support our folks that serve in it. That's my stand.
Can't disagree with you.
Can you tell I'm pro-veteran and pro-American serviceman?
Your first guest is a veteran. I guess that makes sense.
That's right. Hey, speaking of veterans, now I want to read you something that came out of my local newspaper just last week. I live in a little town called Canton, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. The next town over from us is called Woodstock, Georgia. And there's a young man, his name is, he's a young Marine. He's Lance Corporal Jeffrey Cole. He's a member of the American Legion Post in Woodstock, Georgia. He was shot 6 times, that's 6 times, while serving in Afghanistan in 2010 when his unit was ambushed. Although being shot 6 times, he continued to fight the enemy. For his efforts, he was awarded the Silver Star, which is our nation's 3rd highest honor, recently at a ceremony at the VFW in Woodstock, Georgia. The Lance Corporal then, after he was patched up in Germany and sent back home, he was transferred to what's called the Wounded Warriors Battalion East about a year ago and has been participating in the Wounded Warriors activities since then. But I have reached out to someone that is part of that VFW there in Woodstock, and I've asked them to give him my name and number, and I would like to have him on a guest in the future if he's here in town on a Tuesday evening. Those are the kind of everyday heroes that we have to recognize when we have the opportunity. And I think that at this point we're going to go to a short commercial break here in just a minute or two. But Christian, I want you to know I'm very happy you decided to come along and be part of my first show and especially be my first guest. You're an awesome guy, and thanks for all you do for the vets, and keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, sir.
Cool.
Okay. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Again, I'm Dennis Aloia, and this is the next segment of my show, Keeping It Real, or Keepin' It Real. We're trying to make it a little hipper, Keeping It Real. My next guest is a very, very interesting lady. I want to read a couple of points about her before I introduce her. Her philosophy on life is summed up in this sentence: you can never be too old to perform or too refined to feel young. She is a seasoned citizen. Her name is Cheryl Lynn Paris Lemons, and she has held some very interesting titles in her short life. The first of which, she was Miss Georgia Senior America pageant winner in 2011. In her lifetime, she's also held some titles such as Miss Teenage Georgia, Miss Georgia Peach, and she's won gold medals in ice teams dancing and speed skating. And Miss Lemons currently performs with her dance troupe, the Paris Dancers. And she's had a very interesting career and a very interesting life. And I thought, what a great start to my first show to get somebody like this to be able to interview. Cheryl Lynn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your first show. And the last gentleman's a hard act to follow.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Christian's a great guy and a true patriot.
What a wonderful guy.
Yeah. I'd like you to tell me, how many pageants have you entered in your lifetime? I know you've won a few, but have there been, like, are they all local or some national? Or
when I was younger, I think the first pageant I was ever in was Miss Teenage Georgia, and that was in 1961.
Wow.
And 50 years later...
You're still at it.
I don't know what possessed me to do that, except for I decided I was going to start living all over again. Yeah. So I entered quite a few when I was younger. I don't know. It's one of those things that kind of gets you on a roll.
Right, right.
And you just go one more step and one more step. And I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. It was quite different from what it is today. My mother was not in the background, dancing and singing and hollering and telling me what to do the whole time, But it was very interesting, and I got to meet a lot of interesting people. Actually, when I won Miss Teenage Atlanta and Miss Teenage Georgia, I was crowned by Frankie Avalon, and he sang Venus to me, and I've never gotten over it.
He looks just like I did when I was his age.
Exactly. I thought that when I came on.
Isn't that amazing?
Go ahead with Venus.
Not really.
I'm waiting for you to sing Venus for me.
Now, you're the current, or for 2011, I guess they have not crowned the 2012 winner yet for Miss.
They have just done that, so that is just
for Miss Senior America.
Well, for Miss Senior Georgia. Now, Miss Senior America has not been crowned.
Okay.
I went to that last year, and I got fourth.
Great.
In Miss Senior America.
But you were Miss Senior Georgia for 2011.
Right.
Miss Senior Georgia, yeah.
Ms.
Let's
get it.
That S is
MS.
Right. Yes. Now, let me ask you a question. Was that in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where they hold the Miss America pageant?
Yes, it certainly was.
Did they ask you a dumb question, like if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you like to be? Exactly.
Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, I think so.
They did. Well, right. Well, no, we had interviews, and they pretty much went by what you had filled out on your papers, and then you had to have a philosophy of life and several different things like that, and the things that you had done, and so they were pretty good about sticking with that, except for when they just get you up there and the MC doesn't know the rules.
Right.
So off the top of his head, he goes for something else.
Ah, okay, I got you.
But
now I know that we've known each other for several years. We actually performed together in the Georgia Senior Follies. That's where I met Cheryl Lynn about 3 years ago. Great dancer. If you want somebody to come and do a Hawaiian dance, it's better than the Hawaiians do it. Call this lady.
Thank you very much.
But she's excellent at what she does. You'd mentioned to me a couple of years ago in our conversation back and forth that you were once offered a job to be what's the ladies in Las Vegas that wear the big... a
Vegas showgirl.
A Vegas showgirl.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
There you go.
I was.
You was.
And now I wish I could.
Yeah.
So, that's on my bucket list.
That's on your bucket list.
That's on my bucket
Be a Las
list.
Vegas showgirl.
Yes, and I actually did get to perform in Vegas last year.
Excellent.
So they chose, there were several of us that went to Vegas that were in the Miss America pageant.
Wow.
And we went out there and performed.
That had to be fun.
It was tremendous. And we performed in Boulder Station Casino.
Yes, I know where that is.
So
I left some money there my last trip. Yeah.
Didn't we all? But that was wonderful. And then from there, quite a few of us went to Branson and performed.
Wow. And I understand that you've got a trip with your dance troupe, which consists of other ladies that are seasoned citizens, so to speak.
That's correct.
And you girls are all going to go out to California at Palm Springs and perform in the very near future. Is that right?
We are. We're going in November, and actually there's 20 of us, and we have a couple of guys that are going, that are singers and dancers that are going with us, and our ages range from 60 to 84.
Wow.
So, but they're terrific. Everybody was up for this and can't wait. We're going to perform in a resort area out there.
And
and that's November the 4th, actually, is when we're leaving. But we're also putting a show on at the New Dawn Theater in Duluth.
In Duluth, Georgia?
Uh-huh.
When is that going to be?
That's November 2nd and 3rd.
Okay.
And it's 8
and that's here in the Atlanta area?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
New Dawn Theater. Check it out if you're going to be in the Atlanta area, folks. These seniors, they're not just rolling over and taking a sleeping pill and, staying home all day and sitting in a rocking chair. They're out there making things happen. This lady here is living proof of that. There is life after Social Security. I also wanted to mention to the audience that your group is available for different events, right?
Right, that is correct.
And now you're part of the Harmony Booking family, so they could actually contact Harmony Booking if they're interested in hiring Cheryl and her troupe.
Yes.
And you do senior citizen locations as well as other venues around the country or wherever the opportunity presents itself, right?
That's correct. And we did the VA hospital this year, and so we go all over. We like to do shows for the military and basically anybody that will have us.
Great, great.
But we have a great troupe. We do the old style Vegas type shows because we actually have the huge headdresses with the Vegas, costumes, the showgirl costumes and everything. So the costuming is wonderful.
Well, you have a video on our website at harmonybooking.com. Folks can go to that. And this was taken at the Georgia Senior Follies, and it was, you remember that old song, Calendar Girl?
Yes, I do.
You did a bit on Calendar Girl, right? And
I did.
You were Miss January, if I recall. Was that correct?
I was Miss May.
Miss May.
Miss May.
Okay. Miss January looks a lot like you.
I don't remember who was. Oh, okay, I do remember who was.
Who was it?
Miss January. That was Barbara.
Barbara, yes, I
and
remember Barbara.
I'm trying to think of her last name. She actually used to be a Playboy bunny.
That's right. That's right. I remember her. Yeah, we talked because she was in Chicago working when I lived up there.
Oh, tremendous.
I was working and living in Chicago at the time. She was a bunny down there at the Playboy Club.
Uh-huh.
Well,
she was very.
How interesting is that?
Yes, it is. Well, someone asked me not too long ago because I've been traveling everywhere and doing so many things right now, and they said, "Well, I thought when you got to be a senior, it was just kind of all over with."
Right.
I said, no, I actually, if I'd known being a senior was this much fun, I would have done it a long time ago.
That's a great philosophy. I love that. Hey, remember I said that, well, you saw me do some magic there at the Georgia Senior Follies.
I did, and it's tremendous.
Stage magic and comedy.
Yes,
that was a lot of fun. But I also do close-up magic. Did you know that?
Well, how about the facelift?
Right here.
I'm waiting on your close-up magic. Go right ahead.
See, now you're supposed to say, show me a close-up magic card trick.
No, I'm waiting on it. Okay, go ahead. Show me your close-up magic trick.
I just happened to bring a deck of cards with me today.
Wonderful.
Okay. You played cards before, right, Cheryl?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I've got 52 different cards. Okay, they're all different. I'm going to give them a shuffle. Now, Cheryl, let me ask you, do you know one card from the other?
Sometimes.
Okay, which is the other?
The one in the other hand.
No, I don't have any in this hand. What I'm going to do is, Cheryl, I want you to just say stop anywhere as I go through the pack. I'll hold the deck up, Remember the card that you stopped at. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Sure. Stop.
Got your card? I'll show it to the audience. Got it? Okay. Now, you do remember the card.
Yes.
Concentrate on the card. I will now select 4 cards out of the deck. I will show you each individual card, and I will name each individual card, okay?
Okay.
Let me peel 4 cards off of here. The first card is a 3 of hearts, a 3 of hearts, okay? The next card is a king of spades, a king of spades. The third card is a 6 of hearts, okay? And the last card is a 2 of spades. Now, Cheryl, I have to ask you a question. Is your card that you chose one of these 4 cards that I just showed you?
What if I have a senior moment?
If you can't remember, I'll remind you.
I remember. I know which one. Yes, it is.
It is one of the 4.
Yes.
Here comes the important part. I'll do this the hard way, invisibly. I'll remove the card you selected, wind up a couple of times, and toss it right over my shoulder. Now, would you name the card you selected, Cheryl?
It's the 3 of hearts.
I now have a 2 of spades. Hope we can pick that up on the camera, Al. Got it? 2 of spades right there. Okay. I have a 6 of hearts, and I have a king of spades. I only have 3 cards in my hand, not 4. You saw me invisibly take a card out and toss it away, right? And we are missing 1 card, the one that you chose, which was a 3 of hearts, correct?
Correct.
Al, I have a notebook right here. I'd like Miss Cheryl to pick the notebook up. Go ahead, pick up that notebook, Cheryl, completely. Under the notebook is a card. Would you turn that card over, please? Is that card, in fact, the 3 of hearts?
It is, in fact.
I appreciate that thundering applause. Thank you very much. Wow,
applause
what a trick. Well, if you folks out there...
fabulous.
Thank you very much. If you folks out there want to learn that trick, hire me to do a show, and I'll sell it to you. Anyway... Wow, time is just creeping along so quickly. I can't believe it. Cheryl, I want to thank you for being my first guest here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you've been a wonderful guest. Thank you very much. Look her up on the Harmony Booking website. Give her a call. Book her. She's great. All right?
Thank you.
We're going to go to a short commercial break right now. We'll be right back with our last very interesting guest. Don't go away. welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Before I introduce my next guest, I do want to make mention of one thing that I forgot earlier, and I apologize to the folks out there that are with a television station out of Chicago called VSPAN. It's the Veterans Television Network, and they really support the veteran community. You can find them on the internet. Look them up. They do some great work, and they're sanctioned by the American Legion, and they're trying to do some really good things for vets. So I wanted to give them a quick shout out. My next guest, I am so proud to have. He just happened to be in Atlanta this evening, and he has had a very interesting career in life, and I'd like to introduce him to everybody. Here for your enjoyment is Mr. Buster Love. Buster, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm mighty glad to be here tonight, and I've been looking for this like I can't even explain it. Words fail me, so let me just say, But yeah.
Well, that's good, Buster.
I've been, I was in Arkansas performing at a mobile home demolition derby, where I met what I hope to be my future wife, because she had the most beautiful tooth. And I'm gonna tell you something, I'm out there, just hammering. I was in the military, I was in the Salvation Army, and I'm gonna tell you something.
That's a good outfit.
We go in there and we clean up everything before the Rangers get in there. We go in there and clean up and everything. That's what we do. And I'm a patriotic. So anyway, I've been out there, just traveling. I was doing gospel for a while with I had a gospel group called the Gospel Frigidaires, and then we had the Mighty Kitchenettes, and we was doing some tours and stuff, But I came home today because I wanted to be a part of your show, and I just want to congratulate you, and I hope that the show just takes off for you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I understand that you've been around a lot, but where are you originally from?
I was born in Kentucky, and I escaped early, and then I came on down here, Georgia, and everything, and then I had never been to Kosovo, but I'm going there. I hear it's
our former guest has been to Kosovo.
We talked about getting on a helicopter and just jumping right on.
No kidding. That'd be an interesting trip.
Yeah.
I understand that you in your travels around the country, that you happened to be in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. What kind of experience was that?
Well, now I'm gonna tell you something. The news guy came up to me, and I don't know what the hell he's thinking about. He said to me, he says, no, say his voice like that. I ain't making this up. He came up and he says, well, how do you feel about all the churches being destroyed? And I'm laughing because I don't care. I go to Popeyes. I don't care about churches.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable.
It's stupid. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's stupid.
Well, Buster, have you been to any other places where there's been historic happenings when you happen to be in town? I mean, does that kind of luck just follow your act, or?
Well, I do. I did a major tour. I did the McDonough Jonesboro Forest Park Triangle, where we kept losing our buses. But I've been all over the place. Hell, I went to East Point one time. It was all right.
These are all in the Atlanta area.
Well, yeah.
My geography doesn't fail me.
I'm going to build up my audience kind of slow. And I figure your show right here is a good example, building up real slow.
Yeah, this is kind of slowing down ever since you came on here.
Yeah, well, I don't have any cards. Damn. I got some old maid cards at home.
Well, when you leave here, Buster, what's your plans?
I'm going to Popeyes.
I'm going to have dinner at Popeyes.
No,
That's a chicken joint.
Yeah, okay. I got to go to Illinois Thursday, and Friday I'm going to Ohio.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go up there and entertain the people. And
hey, what part of Ohio?
I'm going to Zanesville.
Zanesville.
Y'all out there, you come on Zanesville.
What's the name of the venue?
I have no idea.
You're just going to show up and hope you can find a job.
I just open up the trunk and go, here I am, and people.
Well, because the fellow that's with American Hearts Radio, our advertising partner, is up in Hamilton, Ohio.
Is that close?
I don't know.
All right.
But if it is, he'll be out there to see you wherever you decide to, sit on a street corner and entertain folks.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do there, buddy.
I mean, you really can entertain folks. I mean, you play a musical instrument, don't you?
Well, I got some CDs. I got one that went double plywood, and it was Cowpoking and Utter Love songs. And I got some of the big hits, Meet My Wife, She's My Sister, Things Have Gone Lead. I've had a pretty interesting life, and I'm hoping I'm going to have some more continuing life.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Why don't you play a song for us or sing a song?
Sure.
I know you brought a very intricate piece of musical instrument.
I want to play
Is that a new word, musical instrument?
It is tonight. I want to play a little guitar for you. I'm going to play a little guitar for you. I got this from a little guy from a small town, and he was trying to sell me some ruby red slippers, but I ain't going for that. So
what's the name of this song you're going to do?
This is Caulk, C-A-U-L-K, Caulk. I done a show in for Home Depot, and I thought I should write a little song for them, so I done this, and then I'm gonna do it for you right now. Caulk. Yeah, y'all ready out there? People, I can't hear y'all out there. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Text us if you're liking this.
When there's wood to drill and there's cracks to fill, the only thing real that can seal the deal is caulk. She's looking for caulk. When there's a problem, she knows where to go. Take a trip to Lowe's or Home Depot. Walking down the aisle looking for a man with a smile on his face, 'cause in his hand is caulk. He's holding caulk. You can put it in the window, you can stick it in the door, you can shoot it in the ceiling, you can slap it on the floor. Looks like cream but feels like paste. If you caulk when you caulk, you can get it on your face. Yeah, caulk. Yeah, caulk. Let's rock. I get paid for this. You can seal a joint or fill a gap. For your protection, it comes with a cap, 'cause it might leak and get on your hand. And nobody wants a messy caulk man. No messy caulk man. To get caulk hard, it might take time. Maybe your caulk, but not for mine. Women, they love to talk, but sometimes they just want caulk. They want caulk. They're looking for caulk. You can use a smaller, larger tube. Size doesn't matter if it fits the groove. Every girl I've met that really rocks knows what to do. When you're holding caulk. Yeah, caulk. Dennis likes caulk. He's looking for caulk. Al likes caulk. The camera guy likes caulk. Caulk. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's one of the reasons I'm where I am today. Yeah.
And this could be our first and last show.
Oh, yeah. It's my debut farewell concert.
That's right. If I would have known that, I would not have had you on until next year sometime.
Yeah, we do what we can. We do it all for the kids. It's like Whitney said, it's all for the children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their future.
Yeah. Well, kids out there, I hope you're not confused. It's it's an interesting song, one that I'm sure Buster wrote himself. Is that right, Buster?
That's right. Well, I'm into home improvement.
In a big way.
In a very big way. You know, I stayed hard, fast in my home improvement skills.
Hard and fast.
Yeah, that's right. I'm stiff about it. I won't waver.
When you're up, you're up.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. Right. I like that.
I think you got a handle on it. So
I think I do too.
You grab the bull by the damn horns. What I'm saying.
Make sure it's a horn you grab.
That's right.
Anyway,
that's right. I know what you're saying right there. You ain't getting past me.
You know, I could see you performing with an Elvis impersonator. I think that might be an interesting show.
Yeah, it might be.
But
and again, you know, the other side of that is it might not be.
It could not be, yeah. But you know what? I was thinking about this earlier today. There's a lot of Elvis entertainers out there.
There's too many of them.
Yeah, too many. In fact, I think at this point Elvis is getting a little dated. Don't you agree with that?
Well, I used to do Dead Elvis.
Elvis?
Yeah, I used to take martial arts.
How do you do that?
Well, I came out with my martial arts uniform, and I had Dead Elvis in the back, and then I would eat donuts and Tic Tacs and spit on people, and it was short-lived.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now, it was a short-lived career.
Well, I think they need to get more modern and go to some more. I mean, Elvis became an industry unto himself with all these impersonators, and I was thinking, why isn't there somebody more hip, more up to date, like a Barry Manilow imitator?
And that's more hip. Wow, how fast I'm falling. Barry Manilow, more hip than Elvis. All right. I think I'm getting the drift of what you're saying there.
You're getting the drift of what I say.
Yeah.
Who's that guy, Bowe
Syphilis.
Bowe
yeah,
Syphilis. Tell us about him.
I've been touring with Bowe Syphilis. Yeah.
And what is Bowe Syphilis all about?
His fame is spreading.
I would agree with that statement.
I'll tell you that right now. A lot of people are itching to go see him. So yeah, Bowe, he's all right.
Yeah, interesting fella. And that is a fella that you met when? How long ago?
I was in Arkansas. Yeah.
Did you ever do time in Arkansas?
Well,
it just seems like a state where everybody should do a little.
If you're there, you're doing time. The best thing out to come out of Arkansas is I-20. Now I'll tell you something. I done some prison songs. Meet My Wife, She's My Sister, of course, was on that album.
There was a prison album you did, wasn't there?
I did a prison. I'm going back to the woman that used to be my man.
I remember that.
That's not mayonnaise, and I'm not the cook. I had a lot of really big songs that done real good for me over the behind the wires.
Right. Well, that's a captive audience, so you really can't go wrong.
Me and Johnny Cash. Sometimes people mix us up all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I can see the resemblance. The hat.
Yeah.
Your guitar, if it were just a little bigger, I might mistake you for Johnny Cash.
Wow. And Barry Manilow.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
None of this is scripted, folks. This is right off the top of our head.
Yeah, tell them. They'll never figure that out.
Oh, my goodness.
You're sitting there going, how can they be so smooth and so hilarious without scripting it out?
It just amazes me. It absolutely amazes me. My goodness. We're getting, we've got about 5 minutes of the show left, and I'll tell you what, it's been worth the trip just for the laughs for me, and I hope it's been worth the trip for you folks out there as well. I think that I'm going to introduce you as somebody that actually you really are, okay? Because Buster Love is kind of your alter ego.
Yes, Dennis, that's correct.
That's correct. Yes. You're not like Buster in any way, shape, or form.
No. Surely you jest.
Oh, yes. Your real name is Daryl Rhodes, right?
Yes, it is. All day long. Yes,
all day long.
Yes,
and you've traveled this country doing a little bit of comedy, a little bit of songwriting, interesting songs.
It just depends on what the people want to call it.
Right.
My doctor called me today and told me I had attention. Did you see Letterman last night?
No, I didn't.
Anyway.
Did he do your old act?
God, you missed the joke.
I did.
All right.
Folks, if you got that, text me or send me an email. Please explain that one to me.
See, let me slow down.
There we go. Look at this from Lee Bird.
What's in the
bottle? It's only water, Lee.
Sure, that's what it is, Lee. Only water. Yeah, it was. See, the joke is.
Yeah. Explain this to me.
My doctor called me today and told me I had attention. Did you see Letterman last night?
Oh, I got it now.
All right. Now, if you have to explain the damn joke, let's go ahead and talk about Barry Manilow. Jesus.
Yeah, I think I could see you and him doing a show together.
Really? He's a pencil neck geek.
It would obviously be a benefit show because nobody would pay to watch it.
Yeah, well, I don't know who would be benefit.
Oh, gosh. Well, Daryl, the next time you're in town, would you consider coming to the show again?
Oh, yeah, I enjoy this. And I am doing the show that you mentioned. We did a family show. I'm not. But was it February
February the 16th? Daryl will be appearing at the Canton, Georgia Theater, just north of
Atlanta.
That's right.
Be there.
Be there. Be square. And he is just a hoot. And I'll tell you what, I put one of his CDs that went, what was it, double plywood, I think you mentioned, in my CD player on my car radio, and I was laughing so hard I almost ran off the road.
I always aspire to be a hoot.
Yes. You can, you are a hoot.
Yeah, I haven't. Are you ready for your headliner? Let me bring him up tonight. He's a hoot.
Yes. You sort of look owlish with that hairdo. Wow. Maybe the hoot and owlish go together.
I don't know. Watch, I can't do a thing with it.
Okay. But anyway, if you'd like to get a hold of Daryl to book him for a show, tell the audience out there how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can go to my website, which is www.music-comedy.com. That's www.music-comedy.com. You can contact me through Harmony Booking.
Harmony Booking, yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah. I heard about them today.
Yeah.
And so there's a billion ways, but that's the most efficient ways. And check out my website, email me, and I like to hear from you.
And you're also have you got some YouTube video out there?
Tons. I write music, written some songs for other people and some movie stuff. I was in the movie Crazy Heart with Jeff Bridges. And
oh wow.
So anyway, I
ever been in a movie with Barry Manilow?
Yeah, it was a porn movie. It involved a horse. It involved
we won't go there.
Livestock. It involved livestock.
Livestock and Barry Manilow. I can picture that.
It was chicken before Chick-fil-A. But anyway.
All right.
So anyway, yeah. There's videos of me being on the James Brown show and a bunch of
James Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Could you understand what he was saying? I mean, I love those songs, but he gets off and starts his thing, and wow.
Oh, he could dance.
He could dance.
Yeah. It was just an incredible thing to be on his show. I mean, I've been pretty lucky. I've worked with a lot of great people, and none, of course, measure up to
this great person sitting next to you.
Hey, I'm enjoying the show because you're very smooth. This is the first show, and I don't think people realize how sometimes it's difficult to get in front of a camera and do what you're doing. You're doing a very good job.
Well, thank you very much.
I certainly enjoyed the two previous guests before me.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this.
I think that we're going to have you back just as soon as we possibly can. I mean, how can you turn it down?
I can't turn down the big bucks.
No. This is really an amazing man here. And
$2.98. It's really...
Hey, I'll buy you a cup of coffee, give you a donut, and you're on.
Hey.
And there's a character that you do that I would love to have visit our show. And let's see if I got his name right. Is it... What's the wine? Merlot? What's his name? Vinny...
Oh, Vinny... You talking about Vinny Martell.
Vinny Martell.
Yeah.
The one... Oh.
Yeah, he sings songs that you can't do here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
they'll just have to come and watch you at the Canton Theater.
He's very sensitive to women's needs. And they usually need to get the hell out of their face.
I got it. Folks, we're going to come to a closing of our show. This has been a very, very fun time for me personally. The guests have been awesome. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope we've made you laugh. So if we have made you laugh, please join us next week at the same time. 7:15. This is all ad-lib, not scripted. I just go with the flow. And we're going to have some real people on with some really good stories. And please look at the Harmony Booking website to advertise your product or service. Thanks again for joining us, folks. I guess I'll just let him say this is a wrap and take it away, Al.
When I saw you standing there, beautiful eyes and long brown hair, your smile was so inviting. I thought I might just take a chance to step to you that day, but you had to keep the truth away. You thought I couldn't handle the bags you brought with you, but what must I do to make you feel secure that my love is all you need, and I'll give my best to you. Just trust in me, 'cause I know you're digging me. We hooked up, talked every day. I even read your pains away. You were hiding something from me. Why don't you understand? Love what comes from you, the ups and downs, the highs, the blues. So take a chance and let me show you love. What must I do to make you feel secure that my love is all you need, and I'll give my best to you. Give my best to you, 'cause I know you're digging me, What must I do to make you feel secure that my love is all you need, and all you